Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget friendly, and delicious. So if you're looking for some weeknight meal ideas for your family, just keep watching. First up for dinner this night, Gary wanted pizza, so we had some Papa John's dough and ordered from there. We got their Hawaiian barbecue chicken pizza without onions, and then their Philly cheesesteak pizza. We added mushrooms, and then we also got some of their, I think they call them chicken poppers. And yeah, that was our dinner that night, and we had tons of leftovers that we had for lunch the next couple days. The next day was Sunday, and we were doing a family dinner to celebrate my sister's birthday. My mom and dad brought pinto beans. They cooked them up with some ham hocks, and then I made cornbread. This is just the crusty southern cornbread mix made according to the package instructions. I've got some onions, hot chow and mustard out for the beans. Then I did some fried potatoes as well as sauerkraut and Weiners. And then I made my meatloaf. Now, I have shared how I make my meatloaf, fried potatoes, sauerkraut, Wieners, and then pinto beans. I've shared all that before on my channel. I'll link those videos as well as a cornbread video down in the description box below for you. And then I did some crock pot macaroni and cheese. I've shared this many times before on my channel. I'll link that down in the description box below for you as well. So for my sister's birthday cake, she is a Trekkie and I'm not. I know nothing about it. So, you know, if you leave comments below, I know nothing about it. My sister's the Trekkie. But I found these cute little cupcake toppers on Etsy, and so I bought that. And then I got this cake from Publix Bakery. It was just one of their like pre-decorated cakes online that you can order. I think it was called like Star Galaxy or Galaxy, something like that. So yeah, that was our dinner this night. It was really delicious. The cake was really good, and it was nice celebrating my sister's birthday. For dinner the next night, I'm making pad see ew. Now, I have shared this before on my channel, but it's been a while. I made this for the first time maybe a year or two ago, and I've made it a few times since. Gary loves Asian food in general, but especially Thai food. And I had several people comment on my grocery haul when I said that I was going to make this, asking me about this dish and saying that they wanted to see how I made it. And pad see ew, it is a Thai noodle dish. So here are the ingredients that I'm going to use for the sauce, and I will have the recipe linked in the description box below for you, and it'll have the exact measurements for the sauce. I've got soy sauce. I personally prefer to use reduced sodium soy sauce, but use whatever you like. And then this next ingredient is dark soy sauce. Now, I think I have found this at Publix. If you live in a larger city or a city, you know, where there's a more diverse population, you may be able to find this at your regular grocery store. You may be able to find it at an Asian or international market, or you can also like order it on Amazon or, you know, online spice and specialty grocery stores. I've got oyster sauce, and I just find this at Walmart, Kroger, you know, whatever grocery store in the Asian aisle. Some granulated sugar, white vinegar, and then the recipe did not call for fish sauce, but I have it on hand, so I added a little bit to that. I just mixed up the sauce ingredients, and a quick note, I did double the amount of the sauce. That's personal preference. We like our noodles a little on the saucy side. And then for the noodles, this is what I'm using. Again, I found these at Walmart. These are just rice noodles. These are the linguine. You can use, you know, different forms of rice noodles. Honestly, if you can't find them or don't have them on hand, you can also just use, you know, linguine or fettuccine. I wouldn't really recommend using spaghetti for this. I don't think the spaghetti would hold up when we go to stir fry it. But yeah, you can use what you've got on hand, you know, as far as the pasta goes or what you can find. Now, there's one more kind of specialty ingredient that this recipe calls for. It calls for Chinese broccoli, which I cannot find anywhere near me. A good substitute for that is broccolini. I like to use bok choy though. This is baby bok choy, but you can also just use regular broccoli from the grocery store. That's totally fine. All right, for this stir fry, I've got my wok with a little bit of oil heating up on high heat, and you want to get this super hot to where it's smoking. I'm going to add in my chicken. These are boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I sliced into thin strips. I added just a tiny little bit of salt. I'm going to spread that out and cook that for just a couple minutes until the chicken is almost cooked all the way through. They're thinly sliced, and this wok is super hot, so it doesn't take very long at all. I'm going to add in my bok choy. I just sliced it up. Give that a stir. I'm going to cook that for just another couple minutes until the bok choy starts to wilt. Now I'm going to add in some minced garlic. Again, give that a stir. Cook that for just maybe 15 or 20 seconds. I'm going to take my spoon, move the chicken and bok choy to the side, add a tiny little bit of oil, add in an egg, and then scramble that. And you can see this takes like no time at all to scramble because that wok is so hot. And a quick note, if you don't have a wok, no worries at all. Just use a really large skillet. Now I'm going to set the chicken and veggies to the side, back in the wok, and I did wipe it out. I'm going to add in a little more oil, and then again, when the pan is smoking hot, I'm adding in my rice noodles. You just want to cook those according to the package instructions. Immediately add in your sauce, give that a stir, and then allow that to sit undisturbed for about a minute. From what I've researched, the key to making pad see ew is to let the noodles caramelize. And so letting those noodles and sauce sit in that hot wok or skillet for just a minute, that allows the noodles to caramelize. So give it a stir and then allow it to sit for another minute or two again until your noodles are caramelized. And then that's really it. We're just going to add in the chicken and bok choy, give it one final stir, and that's ready to serve up. Gary has been wanting dumplings, and I got these mini wontons at Publix on BOGO, so it was half price. I also have this gyoza dipping sauce from Trader Joe's. I have this in my pantry, and so I just decided to cook these up. I cooked them in the skillet on top of the stove according to the package instructions. They just took like maybe 5 minutes to cook. It was really easy, and they were yummy. We really liked those. All right, here are the plates. So we've got that dipping sauce, the mini wontons, and the pad see ew, and this was delicious. Such a good dinner. Now, a quick tip. Just like with any other stir fry, it is really, really helpful if you have everything kind of put together and ready for you for the stir fry, because it usually goes really, really quickly. And so go ahead, have your sauce mixed up, have your meat cut, have your veggies cut, and just kind of have everything setting out. That way you can just get everything done. And it took, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes, maybe, and that includes the time that it took me to like cut up and wash the vegetables and chicken and all that jazz. So quick and easy dinner. Dinner the next night was off a meal plan, but both Gary and I just really wanted chili cheese dogs for some reason. So here's what I'm going to use to make it. I've got some hot dog buns. I have some leftover hot dogs, some hot dog chili, and then I have just a couple little odds and ends of shredded cheese. And then to go along with it, we're just doing easy boxed macaroni and cheese, and then I've got the milk and butter for that. I like to make the macaroni and cheese according to the package instructions, and then I like to add in a slice of American cheese at the end. It's so good. And then I just cooked the hot dogs in the air fryer, added the hot dogs to the buns, added chili on top, some of the shredded cheese, and then just warmed them up. Here is my plate. Gary ate later than I did, so I've just got the chili cheese dogs, and I like 2 hot dogs on one bun, and then the macaroni and cheese, and I made Gary's, warm them up for him when he got home, and he had the same thing. Delicious, easy dinner. Dinner the next night, I showed in a What's for Dinner Halloween edition video that went up a few days ago. I will link that in the description box below for you. We did a spooky Halloween themed night. I made lasagna, some garlic bread that looks like little mummies, some spooky veggies and dip. And then, yeah, here were the plates. We've got the lasagna, that garlic bread, and the veggies. This was a delicious dinner. If you'd like to see how I made it, like I said, make sure to check out that video. For dinner the next night, I tried a new recipe for harissa, shrimp, and orzo. And I believe I mentioned this in a previous grocery haul when I was going over the menu plan. But I'd bought harissa as part of a Thrive market order that I did a while back. And I've never used it before, never had it, but I have always wanted to try it. And I, look for recipes to use it. This came up. So, of course, the recipe will be linked down in the description box below for you. And this is another thing that I had several people comment and say, what is harissa? I've wanted to try it and wanting to see how I made this dish. So I'm excited to share it with you. And to be honest, I really didn't even know what harissa was. I had to look it up. And according to the interwebs, it says that harissa is a basically chili paste that is in North African and Middle Eastern cooking. It's also sometimes used as a dip or marinade or added to stews and soups and things like that. So let's get started with this. I've got some oil in my skillet. This is on about medium-high heat. I'm going to add in the shrimp. Now, the recipe did not say to season the shrimp, but I couldn't just use unseasoned shrimp. So I just added a little salt, pepper, and smoked paprika. I'm going to sear the shrimp just for a couple minutes on each side and then remove it to a separate plate. Now, if you don't want to use shrimp, no worries at all. Use chicken. You could totally use chicken breasts, chicken thighs. I would, kind of dice it up or chunk it up. And with the chicken, you just want to make sure that you cook it until it's at least 165 degrees internal temperature. Now I'm going to reduce the heat to about medium, add in a little bit more oil if it needs it. And then we're going to add in some chopped shallots, followed by some minced garlic. We're also going to add in some red pepper flakes. I did not add in a lot at all. I wasn't really sure how spicy the harissa would end up being, so I didn't want to, go crazy with it. But you can totally adjust the red pepper flakes according to your taste. So again, going to give that a stir and then cook that for about 3 or 4 minutes or so until the veggies are soft. At this point, I'm going to add in some orzo. I'm using whole wheat. You can just use regular orzo if you like. We're going to give that a stir and then cook that for about 3 minutes, and that just kind of toasts the orzo a little bit. At this point, I'm going to add in my broth. I believe the recipe called for vegetable broth. I didn't have any, but I had chicken broth on hand, or actually chicken bouillon, so that's what I'm going to use. Now we're going to add in a can of fire-roasted diced tomatoes and give that a stir. Now it's time to add in the harissa, and I did taste the harissa just by itself, and it does have a little bit of spice. If you notice on the label, this is mild harissa. They do have hotter. If you are newer to the harissa or you're sensitive to spice, I would definitely start with the mild. I added in some kosher salt to taste. I'm going to give that a stir, then bring this to a boil. Once it's at a boil, we're going to give it one more stir, reduce it to a simmer, covered for about 15 minutes until the orzo is tender and most of your liquid has evaporated. So this is what it looked like at this point. I did give it a taste to see, if I felt like it needed any more salt or pepper or anything like that. I was happy with it. So I'm going to add in my spinach. Now, to be completely honest with you, this spinach, it wasn't the best quality. So I did not put as much spinach in here as what I would have liked, but I saved what I could from the spinach. Now, once the spinach has wilted, it just takes a minute or two. We're going to stir in our shrimp, add in some fresh squeezed lemon juice. And the heat is off at this point, by the way. I'm just kind of allowing the residual heat to warm the shrimp back through. I'm going to stir in that lemon juice, and then we're ready to add on our final garnishes, which is some crumbled feta cheese, as well as some fresh parsley. If you don't have fresh on hand, no worries. You could just use dried parsley. That's totally fine. Now, that is it. That's ready to go. For this side, we're going to make some Greek sauteed sugar snap peas. In this skillet, this is on medium heat. I'm going to add in a little bit of oil. Once that's hot, I'm going to add in a package of sugar snap peas. Season that up with a little bit of salt and pepper. And then the recipe said to cook this for about 5 minutes until the sugar snap peas were tender. For some reason, when I do that, I feel like the sugar snap peas don't get as tender as what we like. So what I've started doing is adding in a little splash of water and then covering it. And that way the snap peas, kind of steam. So once they're tender and the liquid has evaporated, we are going to add the final ingredients. We're going to add some feta cheese, fresh lemon juice, and parsley. Give that a stir. Now, I forgot here, I didn't want the olives, and so I set some out for myself, but I also forgot there were a couple more items to add. So I, like I said, took some away from me and then added in some chopped Kalamata olives, some oregano, and then some minced garlic, and then I gave that a stir. And again, there was enough heat in the pan to cook that garlic, but like I said, it should have been added earlier before we covered the sugar snap peas, but it all turned out fine in the end. So here's the finished harissa shrimp and orzo, as well as the finished sugar snap peas. And then here are the plates. So we have the orzo, the peas, and then a lemon wedge if we wanted to add it. And this was really good. Now, to be honest with you, eating the shrimp and orzo, could I have picked out and said, there's harissa in this? I don't think so, but maybe it's because I'm not, very familiar with that ingredient. But this was delicious. It was really good. We really enjoyed this. It had good flavor. And when I tasted the harissa by itself, it was a little bitter to me. And then, I could definitely get the spice, but I did not feel like this was too spicy at all. But of course, you can always adjust the spice to your particular preference. And then those sugar snap peas were yummy. For the last dinner in this week's video, my little brother was spending the weekend with us. I've mentioned this on my grocery haul, but for the past maybe 4 or 5 years or so, he and Gary have had this tradition where either the weekend of his birthday or like the weekend before or after, he will come over, spend the weekend, and he and Gary go to like these haunted woods, and they have zombies, and they do like a haunted hayride with paintballs and everything. And so they have a blast, and they went and did this. They went and did that this night rather. And for me, earlier in that day, I'd met my mom and dad to pick up my little brother. And while we were doing that, I decided to stop by a place called Bishop's Meat and 3 to get myself dinner. Gary and my brother had Waffle House after they did like their haunted hayride thing. But just in case you ever like come to Nashville, or you're looking to come to Nashville, or you live in the Nashville area, Bishop's Meat and 3 is in Franklin, Tennessee, and it is so good. And Nashville, obviously is famous for hot chicken. Hattie B's in Nashville is really famous, and it's usually super, super busy there. The same family that owns Hattie B's also owns Bishop's. B in Hattie B's is Bishop's. And so because it's the same family, Bishop sells the exact same fried Nashville hot chicken that Hattie B's does. So like I said, if you're visiting Nashville or in the Nashville area and you want some Hattie B's Nashville hot chicken, and you don't want to deal with the crazy lines, go to Bishop's. It's the exact same chicken, same family. And so that's what I got. I got the mild because I'm a wimp and that's all I can do on the spice level. And then they serve it, traditionally over white Texas toast with some pickles. I got their mac and cheese, which is so good. It is so like cheesy and creamy. I got their carrot souffle, which is really, really yummy. It tastes pretty much just like a sweet potato casserole, but you can tell it's carrots and not sweet potatoes. And then I got their white beans and cornbread, and yeah, that was my dinner, and it was delicious. All right, that is it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you liked this video and got some dinner ideas from it. If you did, hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.